Hi, today, how are you doing? Today we'll be talking about something else about how African societies and how African people were conducting themselves even before the colonizers and the white people came to Africa, and how some of the things they carried at home and some of the things and artifacts which of our parents and also our grandparents were using before the white people came to Africa. So most of the people know that there are some type of things that came with the white people to Africa. There are some things which were already in Africa. So I'll be talking about and also sharing some things which I found, and also some of people who are older than me found people using them even before the white people had come to Africa. And some of these things are great things because people say that Africans were not colonized, but if much further on this video, you'll realize that us Africans had a system which was already planned, and we used to know how we conduct ourselves already with no help or anything. We didn't need help. I was having some conversation with some guys yesterday, and I came to a realization of us Africans. We already knew we are already civilized, although the white people said we are uncivilized people who we used to live as monkeys, but we already civilized because some of the things like sicknesses were not there in our African societies. As I've done my research, some sicknesses were not there, like sexually transmitted sicknesses were not there at all, and other diseases were not also there. And some of these diseases were brought by the white people. I have some people who perceive that there are some type of diseases which came out of Africa, and which is wrong. Africa at that time before the white people came, they were not even cancer. The food that Africans were eating were the nice foods and the best quality of foods that you could get without free of GMOs and free of anything. When we are discussing at that time, in before even the Wazungu, and also the time of the colonial period around the 1900s, there was a large majority of land. Live nowadays there is no enough land in our area, but long time ago in the 1900s and the 1800s there were vast majority of land, and the majority of land was covered by bushes and thickets. But nowadays, at least, you see the bushes are cut down, and you see people have constructed buildings and have done things on those lands which were bare before the colonizer had come. So these bush and thickets and forests which were there used to grow natural vegetables. These natural vegetables will be used to cook food, will be used to as medicine also. So there are natural vegetables like terere. There's a terere. Terere is a plant which is just grows by itself. And there's another plant called mrenda. Also, there was a traditional mrenda which used to grow automatically, and it used to have a vine. It used to be a bunch of vine. It was a long vine which was growing into pieces. So somebody could have come and just plucked out the mrenda and go to cook. And there was that terere, which I've told you. There are many African countries which terere is that thing which grows automatically. It's like a weed, but it's a food where you can cook. It's a vegetable which you can cook. So terere grows when birds eat the seeds, and also their droppings scatter everywhere. That's how terere grows. That's how terere manages to grow everywhere. And also terere used to grow in places where you burnt charcoal. Where there's people burning charcoal, terere will grow there perfectly. I don't know why, but maybe it is because of the condition of the charcoal. It might have some nutrients for the terere to grow, and also it leads it to grow faster than the other areas where there is no burnt charcoal over there. So that's how Africans. So when there wasn't sukuma wiki in those days there were not other vegetables, but there were some things like oil. For mafuta oil, they used to use cow's fat. Cow's fat will be used to fry the vegetables, and that's how you could manage to fry vegetables. And most of these vegetables were boiled. People used to eat them boiled, and they used to accompany them with meat. And also there was a type of way where you could prepare this meat could not be prepared in any type of way. So when a cow dies, or a cow gets sick, or a cow gets a wound which cannot be healed. Say maybe, let's say example, a cow is walking on a way, and there are some areas which are swampy, and by mistake the cow gets stuck into that area, and by the process of removing the cow from that swampy area, the cow gets stuck and the cow gets hurt. It can't walk anymore, and if it has to walk, it will take a long process, of which it will be just a waste of time. So what the villagers used to do at that time, in that case, they would slaughter the cow, and before slaughtering the cow, they would make noises to so that other neighboring their neighbors would hear. And that time there was a vast majority of land. Somebody could be living here, the next person will be living in the next 500 meters next to you. That is your closest neighbor, because people used to have majority vast of lands, and also used to keep cattle also. So they used to ululate and also call drums, so that the neighbors could come and have a feast on this whole cow, because that one particular family could not have finished that cow. So when they make a certain type of noise, the village members are alert automatically, and they know that there's something which is happening at a particular place, and there's something which we should go and see. And by that type of noise, people know that this type of noise symbolizes that there is a cow that has died, or there's a cow which there's a feast which is going, or which will be taking place. So everybody comes with their, if everybody comes with what they have. Somebody may come with a pot for cooking, another person may come with vegetables, another person will come with milk, another person will come with lighting equipment, another person will come with spices. So they will come and gather up at this family. Is when they will slaughter the cow, do some rituals to the cow, pray to God. There was also spirituality at that time. Pray to God and also slaughter the cow. When they slaughter the cow, there are some parts which they will prepare, like the intestines of the cow, they will prepare and also eat it. And there are some communities, that like Luya communities, where if a chicken is slaughtered, the chicken is slaughtered, and also every part of the chicken is eaten, be it the legs or the intestines. Every part of the chicken is eaten. So also in those communities, when the cow is slaughtered, they used to eat also the intestines of the cow, and also the inner parts of the cow. They used to cut the intestines of the cow and boil them with blood and mix them with blood. They would make a special food where it will only be eaten by men and also elderly people. They will mix it and also put some pepper into that mix. It used to be a combination of onions, blood of the cow. So when they slaughter the cow, they collect the blood automatically to keep it somewhere else. So when they cut into the pieces where the intestines and some parts of the cow, they put it there and mixture it with blood. And that special mixture, in some communities they used to call it as ronyo. And also I know other communities like the Maasai used to make this special thing, special package for elderly people. So when they make this package, it will be eaten by grown-up people, and also if lucky, kids will also eat it. So communities will come and also have a feast. And that time there was a lot of plenty food. Food was plenty. Live nowadays where you have to buy food and also beg for food. Those times before that, and although the white people say we Africans were uncivilized, and like now, it is they say it is civilized, and yet there is no enough food. People are going into hunger. Long time in our ancestors and our African parents, there was no such thing called a hunger. A hunger was just like taboo because no one will understand if you say hunger, because food was very sufficient, and some of this food was given to the cows, and also the cows produced a lot of milk. Somebody would have taken the milk to go sell the milk and also return with the milk because the market is flooded with milk. So what they will do with that milk, they will drink the milk the whole day and also make uji and make other and also make porridge and make other things which accompany the milk with it. And also some people will make something called maziwa lala, which is a milk which has slept overnight, and it has become stale, where you can it has a bitter taste to it. So they used to make that with that milk they used to make make vegetables with it. They used to cook vegetables with it. So somebody will also eat the vegetables with the milk, and it was a very tasty something. It was very tasty when you have vegetables mixed with milk. It was very tasty. You could eat it alone without even having to eat with meat or anything else. So that time there was no hunger. People were civilized, and there were cases of killing. There were no cases, and like nowadays we have laws even written from first to the last law, but killings are taking place and people are just ignoring the laws. But long time ago there was no laws. So there were other cases like marriage cases. In marriage cases, somebody will get to marry at the age of 30 when somebody is fully matured. He has beards. That guy, he looks so mature. So what other communities will do into ceremonies and into marriage ceremonies, what they will do, they will look at a particular community or a particular family group and send a spy there, and also look and do some research on the family and see this family has clean records. The people are not involved in bad activities like witchcraft and other activities like somebody in that family had killed somebody or any cases in that family. So when they find that family record is clean, a boy will send out to the other family to have negotiations. And also these negotiations used to take place with the boy's parents and the girl's parents. It used to be automatic. And long time ago, a boy and a girl will meet and they will not even have that desire of sleeping with each other. But nowadays, the desire is everywhere, because when you just see a girl, the desire is there. Unlike long time ago, people used to also walk without bras and also without tops, and you will see ladies' breasts falling out, but no one will have that feeling of having to sleep with that girl. But nowadays, even with the breast closed, somebody has that urge and to see the woman naked. But long time ago, no urge was there. Although they were not wearing clothes, they used to be disciplined. There was nothing like that feeling. So when the negotiations take place, the family agrees and they accept, they choose dowry. And there are some other communities where the negotiation was very different. What they used to do in other communities is they used to take a man who wants a girl in another community. They will have to fight, and if that man wins that girl in fighting, and they will have to wrestle and fight and fight. And if that man wins that girl into fighting, then the man can marry the girl. But if the girl wins the man in fighting, then the man is not fit enough or mature enough to marry that girl. So these things were happening, and when the man is able to defeat the woman in the wrestling match, they are able to be taken, and somebody will be taken by force. You just leave your parents just like that and go and live with the man to where his house is and live with his community and start a family over there. Nothing was compromised that you going back to the family. Nothing was allowed, like divorce and some other things which I see in today's community. So, and there were some things which were used a long time ago. So many people wonder what were the certain types of things which people used to cook with. So people used to cook with, like nowadays, there are aluminum sufurias, there are there are sufurias for cooking. So a long time ago, people will ask themselves, did Africans know how to beat metal and also make sufurias? It's a nice question, but Africans at that time they didn't know, but they used as another type of thing where they would be able to cook their foods, and also it was a better method to cook also foods, which they used pots. They were clay pots where they would bake the clay into a shaped form of pot where somebody could cook, and that pot could be used to cook ugali. They used to cook skuma, vegetables, and also meat. That was the method of cooking. Although there were no aluminum pots like nowadays, in our African communities, there used to be pots, and fire was obviously there. People used to know how to light fire by using stones, and also by just the spark of stones, fire could be lit. And they used to take the grass of a house. They used to take that grass where the dry grass where it is completely dry. They set it up a little bit where they would beat up the stone until the fire lights up, and that's how they used to make fire, where they would also cook. And some of the things which the colonizers brought are cigarettes, but cigarettes were there a long time ago, and a form of cigarette which was used before the colonizers had come, because many people ask that how comes did Africans have the white cigarettes where you could the paper of the cigarettes, and how did the Africans make the white cigarette? The Africans they didn't make this white cigarettes. What they did, they used to make some type of thing which nowadays it is called a kiko, where they used to take a particular type of tree, where they will gather up all the tree in it, and they will drill a hole where they will screw all of it, and also make a hole inside of it where they will that tobacco, when there's a hole they have made inside that stick, they will pierce a hole where when somebody sucks into this stick in this kiko, there's air coming out, and there's air passing through it. So what they will do, they would make a hole on the opening there where they would put the tobacco, and before putting the tobacco, they used to put some clay over that stick, where so that when they are smoking the tobacco, the tobacco cannot be able to burn the stick which they were using. So clay was used to apply around the stick. So when they are lighting up the cigarette, the stick will be more long lasting. And also there were no grinders for, like nowadays you see millers for grinding unga. So what they used to do at that time, they used to have a stone where they will use to grind it, and there are some things like maize which were not there. They were not there. So the type of ugali and the type of maize they used to make was cassava maize, cassava, that was used to make ugali, the cassava. So what they will do is cut the cassavas into perfectly fine pieces, put it in the sun to dry, so the cassava could dry. And if the cassava is dried enough, they will also chop it into many parts and also crush it. When they have crushed it, they will put it again so that it can dry completely. After drying completely, it's when they will take that stone and start grinding the cassava until the cassava becomes powder. So when that powder will be used to make the ugali, and that ugali will be how it will be strong when you eat. When that type of ugali for a long time ago, you eat it right now, you will eat it for breakfast, and the next meal you'll eat will be for your supper, because that ugali was so heavy and also used to make you become satisfied, like unlike nowadays where you get hungry all the time. But that ugali used to, for cassava, used to be appetizing. And also they used to also make porridge of with the milk that had remained after selling it. They used to make milk with the porridge, and they used to sell the milk to other communities. And also they used to sell porridge was also something which used to be sold. And that time there was millet, so somebody could have made porridge easily. There was millet. So that was African community. And there are some things like some circumcision which happened, which was a law for circumcising boys. Boys would have to go a rite of passage. When they go into that rite of passage, they will go and they will be accumulated by other boys, and they will be taught by men who are already circumcised and who had learned the way of life. So that knowledge will be passed to these boys on how to conduct themselves, on how some things should not be done, and how people should do some things in a certain type of way. And if you want something, how to do it. So it was just like something which your father couldn't tell you. You will be told by those men, and you will be able to share freely by those men who are in that particular place where you will be circumcised. So they will be teaching you on how to conduct yourself as a man, and some places where you should not go, and there are some places where somebody should not cross you or go where you are. So they will teach you the way of life on how to become a man. Circumcision was two aspects: the physical part and the psychological part. So they had to be trained on how to do all these things. So that was basically the traditional way of the African society. And many people say Africans were not colonized, but Africans were not civilized. But at that time, by the system, Africans were already civilized, and food was in plenty. Food, when you do a harvest of food, you'll find the same type of food which you harvested this season still in the stores in the next season, until food will be given out to animals. The food was a lot of plenty, and we had a system where we'll conduct ourselves without any clashes in the clan, and we were already civilized, unlike nowadays where we see a lot of misunderstandings. And some of these African aspects, we should also clean on them. On the aspects of food, also our foods have become so GMO, and our foods cannot be eaten. A long time ago, we used to have good foods which were natural grown, and the rivers were clean. And also the life of long time ago was very sweet, unlike the life of nowadays where things are hard. You have to sweat all day, all night. You have just to sweat to get. And also long time ago, there used to be gatherings where family will come and gather up. But nowadays there is no gather up, because you say Uncle Nani is poor, or or somebody else is poor, so we can't gather up and go to Mombasa. But a long time ago, be it any family, we will share Christmas together. But nowadays they have become a social class where people are undermined. So some of these things have been lost, and the values of circumcision also, being taught to how to act as a man and how to conduct yourselves in some types of ways. Also, it usually helps, because when you're a young person is when you need the need of learning is very important. So some of these things you have to be taught, because when you're not taught, you'll take a long time of learning it, and if you learn it, you'll learn it in a hard way. You'll go through a lot of things, and they will have been a shortcut of learning these things when somebody will explain to you when you're in a certain type of stage. So you'll find people showering with also their sisters, although they are grown-ups, but they shower because they were not taught some of these things. So some of these African traditionals are some things which we should cling on them. And also at that time, people were strong and hardworking. There were no sicknesses. Sexually transmitted diseases also came with this traditional and this civilization of people. It came with this, but not a long time ago. There used to not be any sickness, cancers because of the food. There was no cancer. So some of these things we should have cleaned on them, and also we should emulate what had happened in the past. Like if we say we are really civilized, we can use some of these things which were happening in the past in our day-to-day lives, like cultivating nice foods, also respecting the environment, growing trees. Some of these things should not be lost into the search of something else like technology. Some of these things should be upheld and also valued. So this was typically the African traditional system, and that's how Africans used to conduct themselves. And I say thank you for watching this video, and please subscribe and watch out for the next video. And just keep on looking. You'll see more videos on how I'll be talking about more various issues and various aspects also, and also stories of people also, as I said in the previous videos. So please subscribe and watch out for the next videos, and I say thank you till next time.